Wrong stuff. And I should say, I've spoken to friends of theirs since then, and that they've just denied these claims and said that, you know, it's a very one-sided report and just simply not accurate. But it's striking where it's come from and the fact it's in America.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Charlotte? Because often people rushing to the defence of the Sussexes when these stories come out and say, oh, it's an anti-British, like an anti-Sussex narrative from the British.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
British media, but this is the American media.
Yeah, I think it'll be so disappointing for Meghan because, of course, she really cares what the Hollywood Reporter thinks. She's a former actress and this is her world. She literally lives in California and hangs around with Hollywood stars. And, of course...
Wait for it.
You know, she ran away from the UK, and so did Harry, to escape these kind of reports. But I remember a similar report coming out in the Times several years ago. It was much more tame than this, very similar, but much more tame, because the British media held back a little bit and didn't go quite as far as the Hollywood Reporter went. I mean, it is savage, as you say. So it goes to show running away to America doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get an easy ride. In fact, if anything, you know, the narrative that she was Duchess difficult when it came out in the UK...
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
...was much more gentle on her than this one.
Gosh, well, you know, the Sussexes may well, Rebecca, argue that it's one-sided and argue the claims in that story, but they can't really argue the bare facts that they do seem to have a real problem retaining staff.
Fact.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. I mean, obviously, with any big organisation or household, there's always a turnover of staff, you know. You can always pick people, you know, leaving for various reasons. But, you know, in addition to the people that, you know, this kind of oft-quoted 18 figure that we see in terms of staff turnover, I think people sometimes forget those that were left behind in the UK as well, because when they suddenly upped sticks and left, their entire household here was made redundant.
Yeah.
And some jobs were found for people within the royal household, but a vast majority had to leave, you know, whether it be household staff,
That doesn't make sense.
correspondence people, domestic staff, press office people. So there's a lot of lives that, you know, that have been effectively destroyed by a lot of the decisions that they've made. So yeah, I don't think the numbers lie, and
That doesn't make sense.
I think, as Richard and Charlotte rightly say, that will be a devastating report for them to come out in something like that particular publication, because that is the audience they want to impress.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yeah. And Richard, you have written an article for Mail Plus this week where you've given some advice for their next chief of staff. Who would be so bold and brave? What have you said?
It's not quite a job application. I haven't applied for the job myself.
Oh, you'd be a shoo-in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I should say, but you know, I care about their welfare, and I
wonder if Meghan could make you cry.
I'm sure she could.
Yeah.
You know, I reported that Harry's chief of staff, Josh Kettler, had quit suddenly after just 3 months, and he'd been kind of built up as someone who was really going to lead Harry's next stage of his life. So you know, they're on the face of it, as far as we know, they're looking for someone new. And so I've suggested the 10 things that this new chief of staff should do. And they're important things, but you've got to subscribe to Mail Plus to find out.
Tease. I mean, if that doesn't make you subscribe, I just don't know what will. Now let's move on to some other royals now. And Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, is on a foreign trip. She's in Tanzania. What's going on there?
She is, and doing some brilliant things out there, I have to say. She's out.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Out there in a role as a kind of international ambassador for organisations that help with preventable blindness. But she's also doing everything from agriculture, women's health. She's highlighting collaborations between the UK and Tanzania. She's also visited a human trafficking centre and child exploitation unit. She's delivered a message on behalf of the King. So it's proper royal fare, and she shows, I think, the level of trust in her. So just, you know, to wind her up, to send her out and know she's not going to put a foot wrong, which she hasn't. And it is quite low-key, isn't it, Charlotte, this trip?
Yeah, I've got to say, it took me 2 days to realise she was there, which is, I suppose, not the point of... a Raw tour because you kind of want us all to be writing about it if you're Sophie in some ways. But on the world stage, I mean, thank goodness Charles gave her the Duchess of Edinburgh title because I think that carries a lot of gravitas. So on the world stage, she's there representing Britain with a very...
Yeah, I just don't... I haven't from day one been into the fact of, you know, talking about private things that went on in the royal family when they were a part of it. And the thing is, it's just their point of view. We haven't had the other point of view. And it's like, don't bring it to the public. Nobody wants to know about it. Every family has problems. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I just think that from day one, they've handled it very badly. And you know what? They wanted their freedom. They have it. But they want more than just their freedom. They want to be two very important people politically.
Yeah, but they want the royal...
Okay.
Take it easy. But I think if they keep poking their nose into American and political affairs and the Constitution and so on, it's not going to end well. I can tell them that. I want to talk to you also about...
It's like he's only... I was just going to say, he's only been here 2 minutes and he wants to run the country. It's like, oh, hold on.
It's completely absurd. Talking about Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle, I don't know if you've been following this, but he did this big Netflix special. He told some trans jokes. You know, some people thought it was funny, including trans people. Other people, including other...
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Trans people hated it, wanted him cancelled. Netflix stood by him. But he was due to play in a gig in Minneapolis yesterday, and they cancelled it, the organisers, at the last minute, and issued this ridiculous, pompous statement about how, you know, they hadn't been aware that it wouldn't be a safe space for employees and so on. What do you make of it? It comes at a time when John Cleese actually has come out with an interesting comment about the threat to comedy at the moment from this cancel culture. Here's what John Cleese had to say.
A lot of comedians now are sitting there, and when they think of something, they start thinking, could I get away with that? I don't think so. So-and-so got into trouble when he said that, or she said that. You see what I mean? And that's the death of creativity.
And I think look, I'm not a big fan of John Cleese, to be honest, these days. He's a bit of a miserable old bore, and he can't stand me, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, I love him.
I think
Wait for it.
Love him.
Well, we'll agree to disagree about him. I'll probably get on fine with him, actually. If you're watching, John, come and do an interview. But here's the statement that really made me puke. The Dave Chappelle show tonight at First Avenue has been cancelled. To staff, artists and our community, we hear you. We are sorry. We know we must hold ourselves to the highest standards. We let you down. We're not just a blank box with people in it. We understand First Avenue is not just a room, but meaningful beyond our walls. The team and you have worked hard to make our venues the safest spaces in the country.
Stop it.
And we'll continue with that mission. We believe in diverse voices and the freedom of artistic expression, but in honouring that, we lost sight of the impact this would have. I mean, what a load of old guff. Right? What they really mean is,
it's just,
we are going to decide what you're allowed to find funny. That's it.
It's ridiculous. It's, again, a case of freedom of speech. This man is a brilliant writer, a brilliant comic, and when you watch him, he just doesn't tell silly jokes one after the other to try and offend. It always goes along with a story, and there's always the beginning, middle, and end, and it always comes around to, well, what do you think about it? This is what I think, and he...
Wait for it.
...does it superbly.
The point is,
funny.
he's not
Listen,
transphobic.
If we can't...
He's not transphobic, but he thinks you should be able to tell...
Not.
You should be able to tell jokes about trans people, like we tell jokes about everybody. And actually, they're funny as jokes.
Of course.
Here it comes.
And the thing is, if there are many trans people that he offends, it's very, very simple. Don't watch.
Yes.
Turn it off. Go and watch something else.
Fact.
But there are also millions of people that love him, that do want to watch him. I'm one of them. I think he's a genius.
Oh, no question.
But the thing is, it's like, it's simple. Why do people make such a big deal about, you know what he does, you know what he's famous for, don't watch it. Simple.
I think
over.
if we can't tell inappropriate jokes anymore, you and I are going to have to go and live on a desert island somewhere with Ozzy.
Oh, God, we might as well live in bloody Russia. I mean, if you can't laugh, right? You've got to laugh, you know, you've got to have irony, you've got to laugh. With the state of the world right now, if you can't go out or watch something at home that's funny, what are we going to do?
Do you know what I read the other day? Was that there's lots of WhatsApp groups now that everybody's on where inappropriate jokes are told because it's in secret. And I thought, how incredible, what a damning indictment of our society. In a way, it is a bit like Russia or North Korea or China, where people feel they have to go underground to crack a joke in case somebody's upset and you end up losing your job or your livelihood.
Exactly. I mean, all the time people send me things and I'm like, where the
Wait for it.
hell did you find that? You know, and some of them are funny, some of them aren't, but it's like, who the hell is making all this stuff? But some of it is very funny.
Sharon, fantastic.
And, you know, it's humour.
Of course it's humour.
Go on.
Sharon, great to talk to you. Send Ozzy my best. Tell him I'm sorry he bottled it, but as soon as he grows a pair, get on this show and be uncensored for me. He owes me one, all right?
He owes you big time, and I'm going to tell him he's got to...
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Come on and do a river dance for you.
Yes, he has. I look forward to seeing him very soon. Sharon, great to talk to you. I'm so glad the old man's back on his feet. I know how worried you've been as a family. He is indomitable. He's indestructible. And
oh, my God!
Unfortunately, he's not on the show. But we will see him soon. Sharon, great to see you.
All right.
All the best.
Loves you.